Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's session. My name is Andrew Clark, and I'm the sales manager here at Aperto, and I'm really glad to have all of you joining us for today's session. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded, and we'll be sending out that recording to everyone who registered after the webinar. So if you do need to step away or want to revisit at any part of the discussion later, you'll have access to it. Secondly, we also encourage you to use the Q&A panel throughout the session. If any questions come up while we're presenting, feel free to drop them in there as they arise. We'll do our best to address them either during the presentation or in the Q&A portion at the end. So a big focus of our work here at Aperto is to use the best of technology to strengthen your direct relationship with guests, which is exactly what today's session is about. Today, we're going to dig into a topic that's been an issue and is becoming increasingly important for boutique hotels and also chains, and that is OTA brand hijacking and how it impacts your direct bookings. To walk us through this in more detail today, I'm joined by Axel, our solution engineer here at Aperto. Axel works closely with our hotel partners to help them understand how these issues appear in real-world search results and what hotels can do to detect and respond to them. Axel is going to be sharing some examples and walking through a short demo of how hotels can identify when OTAs are bidding on their brand and how that affects direct booking performance. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Axel to get the session started. Thanks.
Hello, folks. Axel here. As Andy mentioned, I work as solutions engineer, which means that I get to look at tech solutions for problems that our customers come with, which is lots of fun. I've been with Aperto for almost 8 years, and this is a story that's kept coming up over the years. And finally, we're at a point in tech where we can actually make some meaningful contributions to solve this, which we're going to show you today. So quick agenda for today. We are going to talk about what predatory OTAs actually are, how they impact hotels, and ultimately how you can protect yourself. So we'll show that in a general sense, but also how our software can do it for you. So let's just start with a quick understanding of the size of the problem here. As ever, when it comes to OTAs, the biggest part of the problem is commissions, because you pay for every single booking. So when we look at this, if we do some quick napkin math on sort of an average property that we work with, if a single guest per day is diverted, you lose one booking that would have been direct and it goes to an OTA. Let's say you got an ADR of $275. OTA commission on that would be roughly $100, $110 on a 2-night stay. Throw that out over the year and it's $40,000 in avoidable commissions. Okay. But as we know, OTAs have a good position in, there's a reason that they exist. They provide a service. But the ones that we're talking about today, they're not quite in that category. So we're specifically today looking at predatory OTAs. And the way that we define predatory OTAs as opposed to the normal ones, the hotels.com, booking.com, Expedia, the real OTAs. The predatory ones, they are kind of OTAs. But unlike the real OTAs, they have no brand trust that they built up over the years where people instinctively know that they have something to offer, or maybe they visit them right away. They haven't built up that client base that serves discoverability, where someone goes to booking to look for a hotel rather than just searching on Google. They haven't done any of that work. They also aren't actually real OTAs. They are just websites essentially that take the booking and then they fulfill it through the affiliate network of either Expedia or Priceline, that's booking.com. So that's what we mean when we say predatory OTAs. And what makes them predatory is actually the way that they operate and the times that they actually do show up in the booking journey. So the way it looks is like this. A guest hears about your hotel, could be word of mouth, social media, it could be that they search on AI, and they just get told or they know that you are the place to stay. Best case, it's a repeat guest, right? So they go onto Google, they type in your name directly into Google to find you to book direct. Now, these predatory OTAs, they will actually bid directly on your hotel's name in Google to show up in the sponsored results above your direct booking website. They pay maybe $1 for that click, but they're going to earn that maybe $110 commission that we just seen. So the payoff for them is huge by doing this, but it's also the only thing that they do. As I said, they provide no discoverability value, no brand trust. In fact, we'll see in a second, but there's a lot of erosion of trust. But when they book, you end up paying the commission on something that you had earned as a direct booking. Now, what's the issue with that then? Because you still got the booking. Are we going to complain about it? Yeah, we're going to complain about it. So, of course, there's the commission, but there's other impacts as well. So, a few things that we tend to see in hotels that come to us with this problem is that contact details are very unreliable of the guests, which means that communication breaks down. They don't receive important information ahead of the stay, such as upsell offers or check-in instructions, or just information that would make their stay better, information about the area or about restaurant offerings or whatever it might be. Worst case scenario, it could be a contactless self-check-in hotel where the guest doesn't even get those instructions in the first place. So it can have some pretty bad consequences. These predatory OTAs almost always have some sort of hidden fees, confusing rate schedules. Sometimes they have leaked rate codes, for example, federal rate codes being used more widely, which can have some very bad impact. And then they also have confusing or sort of misleading cancellation terms. Often, hotels will actually have people phone up trying to change their bookings, cancel their bookings, and the hotel can't do anything about it because this was done through the predatory OTA. Guest requests get lost in the void. These guys, they have phone numbers on their website. They will pick up the phone if you call, and they will impersonate your front desk. And when they do, they will happily take things like special requests, breakfast requests, or a sea view, or whatever it might be, crib in the room for your baby. But they'll never pass it on because they don't care. Once the booking is done, they've made their money. So that gets lost. And does that blow back on them? No, it goes back on the hotel. That shows up in your reviews. That means frustrated guests in front of your front desk. And essentially nothing, no consequences for those predatory OTAs. And this is all from confused guests who think they booked direct. They think they spoke with John on the phone, standing at your front desk. They didn't. They think they went to your direct website. We've even heard this frequently where repeat guests are confused and misdirected. And even hotel managers who have fallen for this trick themselves with other properties. So it is a very common issue. So what does it look like? How do you recognize this? It looks like this. It's really simple. You type in a name into Google, and if the predatory OTA is present, you will see them show up. So I've highlighted a few here: bookonline.com, guestreservations.com. These are the ones that we consider predatory as opposed to the normal OTAs. There's a bunch of known offenders: guest reservations, reservation desk, online reservations, hotel one. Any that doesn't have its own brand credibility basically falls in this category, that you only ever see them show up in this one instance. Now, I showed you a couple examples there, but I'd love for you to drop into the chat and just send us the name and location of your property. I will actually do a search live here today. We'll see what shows up. So pop it into the chat and I will hop out and I will grab a Google window to do some quick searches here. Throw me some properties. Give it a second. No one expected that sort of interaction on a Thursday
We'll give it
morning, night, whatever it is. I'm going to start typing one in here. This is one that we looked at earlier. Hampton Inn and Suites out in Folsom, California. This is a great example. I didn't even plan this. It looked different when I searched before. But this has two predatory OTAs showing up in a single search here. So guestreservations.com, bookonline.com, not brands that you would trust or find anywhere else. These guys are going pretty far. They're adding all these save up to offer, book a room. They're adding the address. They put the property name into the URL. They've gone pretty far with their impersonation here, and are really trying to take this booking away from the direct booking website, which is Hilton.com. So even the big brands are suffering from this, and we see it equally with smaller companies as well. So you hop over to something like this, Majestic. That's an independent in Miami Beach. There they are. Guest reservations showing right up. What I would suggest that you do after this webinar is go on, search for your own property. Sometimes it shows up right away, sometimes it doesn't. That's kind of the trick. They often hide in your local area as a hotelier. And that means that it will be harder for you to find if it's actually happening. In that case, you may have to check it from a VPN. You may have to do some more creative sleuthing or check from your phone or when you're traveling, and eventually you'll probably see it pop up one way or another. Okay, so what do we actually do about it, and what has been done in the past before Operta showed up? Well, a lot of hotels actually don't notice this for the reasons that I just mentioned. It's actually really hard to track because it's not systematic, and actually the predatory OTAs do everything they can not to be detected. So, so while they're doing that, the hotel and their marketing agencies are really focused on kind of classic marketing KPIs, website traffic, OTA bookings, all that sort of stuff, which is great. But it's hard to break these out specifically. They come through those affiliate networks. Sometimes those bookings show up separately. Sometimes they don't. Mm, what is harder to track is those kind of keyword bidding, search positioning, and just kind of tracking this anecdotally at the front desk as well. Those hotels who have taken action until now, they've done a few different things. They've done manual monitoring, obviously, as I said, just search for your own name, see what shows up. Bid on your own brand in Google is a really easy first step. Add meta search listings. That means you show up in the side of Google there, which is a great thing, but it doesn't actually solve the issue at its root that they're showing up the biggest position on Google. Some people go to the extent that they're actually shutting down OTAs entirely, so shutting down Expedia completely because you can't ask Expedia to shut down the affiliate network. They won't do it. So they'll shut down OTAs entirely, which is pretty drastic and requires you to have some very, very strong presence already, strong bookings. And finally, legal battles. Some folks will try cease and desist letters, but these guys are sketchy. They are very hard to nail down. A lot of them are operating out of territories that are hard to reach from a legal perspective. So, what does Aperta do then? We come at it from the technology angle, of course, and we have something called the marketing agent. The marketing agent, we're going to take a look at it in a second, but really quickly, it does all the things that we just talked about as being difficult to do as humans, and it does it automatically. Technology does it behind the scenes. So it detects the threat, it proposes fixes, launches and monitors those, and explains how the results are going. The underlying technology of this is something called agentic AI, and that's why it's called the marketing agent. If you haven't heard the term before, it's everywhere these days. It's becoming really popular. It's a different version of AI from the ChatGPT that you know, in that it can actually take action. You have an entity of AI that can take action. It doesn't just respond anymore, it does things. It also works with other agents if there's multiple of these involved to create a stronger outcome. And they all adapt continuously to real-time signals to be really dynamic in whatever environment they operate. So we're going to hop right out and just take a quick look at what this looks like in action in Operto today. So here we see the interface of this marketing agent. And I told you this is nothing like ChatGPT, which is ironic because it looks just like ChatGPT. It has elements of it. Let me show you. So what this has done is it sits in the background and it starts monitoring for this issue occurring for your property. So right at the top, it says that it's noticed that OTAs are bidding on your name. Okay, so it's found that. It's found some proof as well. It's brought those screenshots to your attention so you know it's happening. It's also tracking this across geographies, across device types, so it has a wider sample than just going on and searching real quick by yourself. It then starts proposing fixes to this issue. So the first thing that it usually suggests is if you don't have this running already, to run a small branded campaign on Google where it just bids on your name so that you show up alongside or above the predatory OTAs. This gives you a leg up because you get a better quality score from Google when you bid on your own name compared to the OTAs doing it. So you can actually outrank them for a very low budget. So it suggests this when you hit approve, it actually goes and sets up this whole Google Ads account, and the campaign and runs it with all the best practices of digital marketing in its knowledge, in its brain, essentially. And it keeps dynamically adjusting to the results as well. And it runs automatically in the background. It's autonomous, but it will give you regular updates. So it will tell you, how the stats are doing. We'll see here impressions are changing, clicks are changing. It will give you graphs. It will do that proactively, but you can also ask it, so how is campaign doing? Give me a breakdown. Show me a graph of this. So it will actually give you really detailed information. So now we're in the game. Now, how are we going to win there? How are we going to get across the finish line? Now, the next step that it does is it will start to report these predatory ads to Google for violation of terms of service. And this one is kind of where it becomes magical, because the first part, you now playing in their level field, you're in the playing field, but now you are actually proactively fighting back. So what happens with these predatory OTAs is they're actually breaking Google's terms of service. One, they are impersonating you, which you're not allowed to do. And two, they almost always have hidden fees attached to them, which is not allowed according to US or Canadian or European advertising standards. So our agent will actually go and look at all of this evidence. We'll even follow the booking flow and find what things are happening that is not allowed. It will document it, and it will send a really detailed report to Google for these violations of terms of service. Google is actually really good at taking these down. We'll probably do it within the same day. But the predatory OTAs, they are clever. They pop back up. They have thousands of accounts that they're running. They will come back. And so that's why AI and technology is uniquely suited to actually go and do this on a systematic scale. So every day it will keep reporting. And that has two benefits. One, the OTA is now going to be gone. The predatory OTA is going to come out of the rankings entirely. And two, the bids for your own brand name in the campaigns are going to be a lot cheaper, because now you have one less bidder in that auction. So those are the main steps that it's taking. Again, it will keep reporting how it's doing and all these things, and you can keep asking it things. It will write that nice graphs and everything. But we're seeing extraordinarily good results from doing this, and it's things that are just not great for humans to do, because it's a lot of work for the do individually. So let's come back in here and wrap up. Now, what we have. Hold on 1 second for me. Zoom does not like me coming in and out of these screens. Okay, so what we have seen with this is that it's great to have this tool, but it's also great as part of a team. So what we've built here at Aperto is a suite of these agents that work together to increase your direct bookings. So the marketing agent is one, which works on these predatory OTA issues, but you also have the GEO consultant and the direct booking assistant. Just really quickly, the GEO consultant helps you with AI visibility. So if someone goes on ChatGPT and says, hey, where should I stay near Sacramento, then we want this Hampton Inn in Folsom to be popping up there without being prompted in too much detail. And it's really hard to get your website noticed by AI. So this gives you a very clear roadmap to make that happen, and gives you a dashboard with KPIs for how well you're doing for those prompts you want to rank for. Once your guests or your potential bookers reach your website, the direct booking assistant is there as a chatbot to answer any questions that you may have, and basically drive people through to a direct booking without them falling off if there's any items that they don't know, that they're unsure about, that they want to ask the property about, but are too lazy to pick up the phone. So that's a suite that runs on your behalf to increase direct bookings and kind of handle everything from discoverability all the way through to conversion of that booking. All right, so what are some results that hotels are actually seeing from these tools being deployed? So widespread success displacing predatory OTAs. That's almost a given, otherwise we probably wouldn't be here. But we're having huge success with this, and with that obviously comes the clicks. With that comes the reclaiming of those direct bookings that you had rightfully earned. We're seeing net ROI after spend. You will have to pay operator for this, I'm afraid. And spending on those Google ads, you're still seeing about 5 to 10x return on that investment, which is huge. We also offer a money back guarantee on that, so you can make sure that that's happening. And with the wider distribution suite here, including that AI visibility, it's also a really proactive positioning against even traditional OTAs who are investing billions and billions in owning the AI booking channel, where they want to be apps on ChatGPT and they want to be the only game that shows up. And so if someone searches for hotels on Gemini or Claude, but ultimately we are enabling independent hotels here to be in the same ballpark and show up for their own prompts in AI. The final thing I'll leave you with is that this has been going on for a long time. And what's the reason to act right now? It really is that the technology is mature enough to actually have a meaningful impact, and that it can do it autonomously. You don't have to monitor it. You don't have to supervise it. It will send you updates, but it will go out and do this for you. And the longer you wait, the less avoidable commissions you will be passing to those predatory OTAs that are doing all the other bad things as well. If you want to take a look at this, the first thing you want to do, obviously, is go and Google your own property. Maybe switch on a VPN, search from somewhere else, get a buddy to search from somewhere else as well. Sometimes, if you want to force the issue a little bit, you can type in reservations at the end of your name. So Folsom Suites and Inn reservations. You'll find that. And then if you want to calculate the size of the problem, you can go and check out our ROI calculator right here. Scan the QR code, that'll pop right up. Type in a few quick numbers. We don't collect them, don't worry. And you will be able to give yourself a little bit of an indication of what the size of this problem is. There is a field that asks you to put in how many bookings, how big of a percentage of bookings is coming from predatory OTAs in your current world. If you can find affiliate bookings spread out, that's from Priceline Group and Expedia. Sometimes you can find them broken out in your booking source report. If you can, great, you can pull it from there. If you don't, industry average is about 5 to 8%. So expect that, put that in somewhere between the 5 and 8% mark, and you'll get a sense of what this might be costing you, other than the guest experience side. That's it. Any final observations, Andy, here as we wrap up?
None from my side. I think you pretty much covered everything very well, Axel. Appreciate it. But yeah, just like we said, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out either during the session or after. We're here to help, and better we start solving this problem sooner rather than later, just like you said. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's join that battle.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.